Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the She Runs Strong podcast, powered by Coach Perry with Nikki and Shona. Today, we got some amazing questions coming through. There's a couple on protein. There's another one on finding your mojo. There's also one on sunscreen. So, really looking forward to diving into those. I have Nikki with me here as always. Nikki, found out a very fun fact about you this morning that you learned how to play the flute with your daughter, and you've been doing it for 12 years.
Yep, correct. When my daughter was, 6, we signed her up for flute lessons, and the flute teacher informed me that I also had to learn at the same time as her. So it was a ongoing thing. Actually, I really enjoyed it. 12 years of getting to grips with playing an instrument, of something I'd never done before. It was pretty tough, I have to say, but I learned a lot through playing the flute about how to kind of take on something new, the breathing aspect, the technical aspect, the practicing every day. It was great. So something that was quite different. So how about you? Did you ever play an instrument when you were younger?
Started to learn how to play the guitar. Didn't carry on with it, unfortunately, and then had an ex-boyfriend when I was young who played the drums. So I learned how to drum. So I'm pretty good air drummer. Let's leave it at that. So at concerts and things, I managed just fine. But no, definitely not an instrument at all. So that's super interesting, Nikki. Let's dive straight into these questions. This first one I'm going to ask because it comes from Julie in Edinburgh, which is your hometown. So it's saying, I live in Scotland. Do I still need to wear sunscreen?
Okay, the clear answer to this in the daylight hours, yes. I mean, in Scotland, in wintertime, we don't get many daylight hours. It's dark so much. I think it gets light about 9 and it gets dark about 3:30. But if you're running in daylight hours, yes, you need to wear sunscreen. I actually contacted one of my running clients who is a dermatologist and asked for her advice. And I'm going to call her Dr. Lisa. And her, and I quote, response was, everyone should wear sunscreen on all sun-exposed skin year round. The sun's rays can pass through clouds and they can still reach your skin even when it's cold, although they are not as intense. And following on from that, her recommendations were SPF 30 always in colder climates. So even in Scotland, when you're out, you need to be kind of wearing that SPF 30. And for us females, moisturizing is often quite good. I know in Edinburgh, we have a rotten wind in Edinburgh as well, so you can feel very weathered as well. So it's definitely good to look after your skin, especially as you're kind of getting older as well. And I think I've written here, like, also long sleeve clothes as well. That's foolproof. But, very interestingly, we have a radio DJ who's local down here in the south, and he got skin cancer last year, but he's a big runner, him and his wife. And he will not run now without a long sleeve top and full cover up across his body and a hat as well to keep as much rays off. So it's quite interesting. It maybe just feels like it's not that significant when you live in Scotland or the UK, but it's definitely something that we do need to think about nowadays and stuff. So, I mean, you're obviously in South Africa. It's a completely different ballgame, I imagine, for you. I mean, how do you kind of cope? I mean, it's just a totally different, because you're going to be out for longer. You're going to be,
the sun is a little bit more harsh, if we can say that.
Yes.
I mean, it's nice. I know you guys like it, but it's harsh. So I would recommend a daily SPF that's in your daily moisturizer, definitely. But then more than that, you have to be putting on an SPF, I would go up to about a 50, an SPF 50. So when I'm running, so we run early in the mornings as well. So we leave when the sun is just coming up. So very often people don't think it's important to put on sunscreen then. So I use actually what the surfers use. It's really nice. It's a little balm stick thing that you can rub on your face, because it's really nice, because then slightly water resistant, so then the sweat doesn't go into your eyes, which is really nice, because that's one of my worst things about the sunscreen. But then, if I'm playing golf or running, if I know I'm running a marathon where I'm going to be in the sun for a long time, definitely an SPF 50 on all aspects, because you don't necessarily want to be wearing long sleeve clothes in 35-degree weather here. But yes, it really is absolutely key. Interestingly, I just played golf the other day, and it was very overcast, and it was early in the morning. We teed off at about 7:30, and I didn't put sunscreen on until about the fourth hole. And then I burned so badly, because then I put
Really?
on after that, and I burned so badly where you could actually see the dots
Oh
from
no.
in my garment. It was really bad. And so yeah, that's I just hit myself because I always am so good with it. But yes, sorry, I'm digressing here. But yes, I think it's absolutely key. And Nikki, I mean, I think just then maybe just to mention onto that, I mean, if you are putting on sunscreen, I think especially living in the northern hemisphere where you're not perhaps getting as much sun exposure, really to then consider looking at a vitamin D supplementation, just to help
Yes.
maintain bone health and immune system health, because you're not necessarily getting that natural vitamin D aspect
Yeah,
as
I
well.
mean, 5, 6 months of the year, really, it is gray, and you just don't feel like there's any sun. I mean,
Mm,
I always wear a cap actually, and I find that just protects quite a lot
mm,
from the weather, whether it's raining, sunny, windy. We have all. I mean, we can have them all in one run, um, so you can get all seasons.
mm,
But yeah, I think that vitamin D is a really good shout actually. So I
yeah,
like that. Yeah.
definitely.
So the
Yeah,
answer, Julie, is yes, definitely pop on your sunscreen, get a good moisturizer, and in the summer, yeah, you just got to take that little bit extra time to do it, haven't you?
exactly.
And reapply it. Good stuff. All right, okay. Well, so on to the next question. Haley. Haley from Michigan, USA. Just after Christmas, New Year's, I caught a really bad cold flu and ended up with 4 weeks out and just felt awful. Now I still feel weak, but would like to get back to running. How do I start?
I mean,
Okay.
Nikki, I think, the key, and I have a client who's actually in Michigan, and I know they had quite a bit of hectic snowfall recently as well. So, yeah, from my perspective, the first thing is, because we see runners do this all the time, is they try and push through, right? They're so worried about missing out. So, from my perspective, the first thing would be to make sure that you're 100% symptom free. Right, so don't try and rush back that return, because in actual fact, you're just going to keep delaying your return anyways. And I know, yeah, sorry, bless you. You also had you were quite ill over that sort of period as well. Yeah,
Oh,
how was that
yeah.
for you? And
Me and the
coming
rest
back.
of the UK.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard so.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, it was a nasty winter this year, and Christmas and New Year was
Mm.
quite a grim time. I was really quite ill with a bad cold and bug, and there was also noroviruses going around as well. I never caught that, thank goodness.
But I think just sorry, Nikki. I think just in general, though, if anyone's coming back, whether it's winter or even in South Africa, we're going to be going into that now. Like, what would be your approach to coming back to running for someone
Yeah.
who's been out for three
So
to 4 weeks?
Okay, so the key thing really, as you said, is to be 100% symptom free and really, really don't rush that return. Take a few days extra. But then think about taking on a phased approach. Okay, so really it depends how long you've been ill for. Some people just got it for a week or 2 weeks, but you're saying 4 weeks. So, in my view, it'll probably take you 4 weeks to kind of build back up again. So, if you were following a plan, let's say you were following a plan, I would look at probably only about 40 to 50% of kind of what you were previously doing. And you might need to go back in the plan. So a 40, 50% week of just almost going through the motions of the routine of what you had before, and then building up to a sort of maybe 60, 75%. And
Mm.
over the sort of 4 weeks, just graduating back up to that 100% of what you were used to doing before. And just ever so slowly being quite gentle on yourself. So you would lower the load and intensity that you're doing. You would adjust your volume, and then you would prioritize your recovery a little bit going forwards in that, I
Definitely.
think.
There's another follow-up to that question very often that we get, Nikki, is utilizing, like, one of the follow-ups here, though, was that she has a chest strap and she measures her heart rate consistently, would training to heart rate be a good idea? How do we then utilize that in that training coming back?
That would be a great idea, because so often you come back and you know what your easy pace was and what your general paces should be. So you want to be running those paces again, but that's not really a great idea. You're generally going to be going slower. The beauty of using heart rate and a heart rate strap is you're going to be able to monitor how you feel internally, and that's going to be a really good a show of how you're getting on. So actually using that and training by heart rate as you come back will really just help speed up. It will actually help speed getting you back up to that 100% of training again. Trying to push through. I've seen it a few times with friends and athletes and runners. They're just like, oh, I just need to push through and eventually it'll get easier. Well, sometimes the less is more approach is better in this circumstance. And when you start to use your heart rate strap and you can see that your heart, maybe, in the second or third week, you're doing some intervals, but you can see that in between those intervals, your heart rate just isn't dropping and recovering. It's still hanging high. Then you aren't ready for that interval workout or that particular session, and actually a few more weeks of easy running is going to be your go-to coming back. So I would love that, and very often I know we do in the Coach Parity Forum, we will put people on a heart rate type plan to bring them safely back in.
Definitely.
Yeah, so because you can quite often feel okay. I mean, most people feel okay, but it'll be at much more of a deeper cellular level that your body's still working hard to recover from that particular viral bug or
I think
so
that's a key point, is whether it's viral or bacterial, and we don't know. I know at the
yes.
university here they're doing a study on that with runners, and Kelly, who's on our team, Dr. Kelly Miller, she's been part of that research study where they're actually then able to measure whether it is a viral or bacterial infection, and then advise on that, because obviously, like you say, you feel better, but that viral load can still be in your system. And then the worst thing we want is for that to land up in the heart and you land up with myocarditis and you never get to run again. I mean, that's, I'm not trying to fearmonger at all, but that's just the worst case scenario. And then, Nikki, I just wanted to mention one thing on the heart rate that I think could be useful, is that if you're measuring your resting heart rate consistently, it's a great tool to then use to see as well whether you're ready or not to come back, so because you'll know what is your normal, right? There's no normal across the board. It's your normal, and that'll give you a good indication whether or not you're ready to come back or not.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Yeah, good shout. Yep, and just keeping an eye on all these little variables will really help you just get the most out of your training going forwards. So yeah, definitely. It took me a while to get my resting heart rate back after my Christmas bug, I have to say.
Okay.
And I could see it, and then all of a sudden one day it just came down and I was like, oh, thank goodness.
Yep.
Right. Let's go.
Definitely.
So yeah, so that's a good one, Haley. So hopefully you get back to it and are fighting fit soon. Fantastic. Okay, cool. Right. Our next question is from Gretchen in Cincinnati, USA, and this is a video. So Shona, take it away.
Quite cool. Yeah, our first video question, which is exciting.
Yeah.
Let's get Gretchen on.
And if you do have video questions,
Hi, Nikki
do
and
pop it down. Sorry.
Let's get Gretchen on. Sorry.
Hi, Nikki and Shauna. I have been a runner for a long time and I'm now menopausal. And I was just wondering, what are the best types of exercise to do alongside my running to support bone health? Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Gretchen, for that question. Bone health, Nikki. So, yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and I know Gretchen, she's part of our community in Coach Perry, which is excellent. And so I think key thing here, guys, is that first thing, I mean, Gretchen's asking about specific exercises. Let's just note that nutrition also obviously plays a really, really big part in this, and I'm not going to dive into that now. We will definitely dive into some of those nutrition questions later. But from an exercise or movement perspective, we need to be doing your bones require a load on them to regenerate and sort of remodel, right? And I mean, the key thing here is running helps, right? Because running is but you are loading. It is impact. Thank you. Yeah, it is an impact thing, but it's a cyclic impact, right? Right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, and the bones require a multi-directional force on them in order to really get that impact. And so we're looking to do things that require a load, okay? And yes, we do want people to start lifting and getting stronger as well. But initially, if you're starting at nothing, that might just be some body weight exercises. Okay. So that might be the start of where you're at. And then as you get stronger, we then start to load with bands and some light weights and we keep moving up. I think women have been dealt a disservice so long because they're so worried about bulking up, but we really do need this load on our bones in order to look after them, and of course there are the other nutritional and lifestyle factors as well. But I often say to people, then let's do the exercises that are going to benefit your running at the same time, right? We're so short on time and people don't like doing strength work. So let's just do the ones that are going to be bang for your buck, almost kill two birds with one stone. And so, those would be exercises like squats and deadlifts, bent over rows. We want to be doing step ups, step downs. All of those are really, really great. And I think just as runners, sometimes we neglect the upper body a little bit more. So yes, we do want to focus obviously on the lower body because that's going to help our running, but we want all of our bone structure to be getting that impact or that load from the strength work. So upper body exercises, I quite like to always have a push and a pull exercise in your training plan. So you would have a push-up as an example, and then a bent over row as an example, or a lat pull down combined with a different kind of pushing exercise. So it is quite nice. So just always make sure that you have a push and a pull. And then I personally always like to have squats and deadlifts in a runner's plan, just because I think they're just so multi-factor and use exercises for running specifically as well.
Yeah. And they're just I mean, there's quite a lot in there. So it is a big topic, strength. Where would she start with something like that?
Yeah, so body weight work, definitely. So body weight squats, you can then do what we call arabesques, or often if you just Google arabesques, you'll see them there. We have these all on our Coach Perry platform, obviously as well. Arabesques or aeroplanes, those are really nice as well. And then, as I mentioned, like a push up. I mean, my gosh, like, if I'm actually horrified as the number of push-ups that women can do, because it's not many, and I'm in that category as well. And I mean, currently, I'll go and do 8 modified push-ups, but I can probably do 4, maybe normal push-ups. It's really isn't good, and that needs to be better. Maybe 5 or 6 now, but yeah, we need to be doing those. So body weight in itself, you don't need to be lifting heavy weight. So I'd recommend starting there. Body weight, pick 5 exercises, make sure there's a push and a pull. For your upper body as well, make sure there's some core in there, and then obviously some stuff to contribute to your running as well.
Yeah. And just, I mean, we have strength in the Coach Parry platform on our programs and stuff, and just a little bit about how we structure that, maybe, because that's quite a nice way, isn't it? We tend to do the Mondays. So just 2 types
in the week.
almost.
So exactly. So Mondays we sort of regard that as our injury prevention. I don't know why I'm doing this. It is injury prevention work, injury prevention strength. Wednesdays we like to call it our get running strong strength. So that we're building, so we're getting running strong, we're getting strong, we're building bones, we're building lean muscle. And then on a Thursday, generally we'll do a slightly higher intensity strength sessions. It's a little bit shorter as well, and again just elicits some different aspects. And then you can also reduce your high intensity running load as well a little bit that way. So it's a nice way to balance that out. And yes, that's 3 sessions in a week. If you can't get 3, we always say 2 is better than 1 and 1 is better than none. So
if you're going to do 2, kind of injury prevention and sort of moderate strength will help.
Or getting strong. Something, just keep thinking about, we need to be getting strong. We need to be getting strong bones, strong muscles. And Nikki, we were laughing a little bit about this. I think that society has caused women to think that they can't lift heavy because they're going to get all bulky. But I've seen women carry like 8 garbage bags, grocery bags out of their car, or one child on this hip and carrying another child over here, and that's more than 20 kgs. So we really
Absolutely.
do need to start lifting and getting stronger as well.
Yeah, well, I think there is a fear, isn't there? I mean, I definitely, when I go to the gym, I do laugh at some of the women that they're lifting these weights, and I think, I'm pretty sure your handbag is heavier. I'm pretty sure you are lifting heavier. Like you say, the shopping bags, the handbags, it needs to be heavier than your handbag and stuff. So if you have one sort of really kind of bit of heavy lifting during the week, but then the sort of injury prevention one, could you move in the Pilates yoga sort of field with that, or is it still
Definitely.
good to be more in the gym?
No, definitely. Those are excellent forms to complement your resistance training. And so those are great. I would, if you're doing yoga or Pilates, you could use that as your injury prevention. I would just make sure that the person who's your instructor knows that you're a runner, and they put in a lot of glutes and hamstring work, and preferably a little bit of stuff for the lower leg. We often forget not just the calves and the shins. There's lots of little muscles in there that
Yes.
we really can be working on as well. Post tibialis, all of the peroneals, and then the feet as well. So definitely you can do those as a complementary, but I would just make sure they're just running specific.
Yeah, it's a big topic there, Gretchen. So definitely get that going, and do lots of strength. So
Right.
upper, lower body, full body, everything.
All around, yeah, definitely. All right, let's jump into the next question, which is from Tandiwe in my hometown, Joburg. Tandiwe is asking if she can move her long runs to the weekdays. I'm assuming she has an extra day off in the week where she can maybe fit in a long run. Nikki, what are your thoughts on just restructuring those long runs around? If you want to recover from sessions faster, not feel tired all the time, run pain and injury free, and improve your endurance, then be sure to join me in my upcoming training specifically for female runners over the age of 45. In it, I'll share with you my simple 5-step framework that will transform your running. Simply scan the QR code on screen now, or click on the link in the description to save your seats in the training now. We look forward to seeing you there.
So, as a mum, and then kind of more as I'm older, I always did my long runs during the week, actually. So it's absolutely fine to restructure your week. We tend to put the long runs in at the weekends because that's when most people have their time. But if it suits you better to do it during the week, and for me, I always like to do my long run on a Monday. It just kind of got it done and dusted for the week. That's great. So pop it in during the week, but then make sure the rest of your week is structured kind of similar to the way it was previously structured if it was at the weekends. So that being said, is that if you have a run session, an interval workout, a speed workout, make sure that's as far away from possible as that long run. So and then you've had a few rest days maybe before or after as well. So it's really about how you're structuring that week. So try and keep the week structured. Try not to have a long run, an interval session the next day, a heavy weight session the next day, and piling it all into that bit. Try and just eke things out across the week. Just manage that workout, that sort of system. I mean, it's not always possible to do that, but you do see some people just piling all 4 runs together and then having the weekend off and stuff.
3 days off, yeah, exactly.
I mean, what do you do with your long runs, Shona?
I mean, I use weekends, and I think that's just where the culture came from. It's just because most people have weekends, and that's where they have a little bit more time.
Weekend warriors.
Yeah, and in South Africa, anyways, there's obviously a big culture of comrades and ultra running, and so there's big runs that are done on both Saturday and Sunday, and there's really no worry about even just swapping those two around. And so I think your points are key. Just the way that's structured, so you can move it around, but just be careful with keeping that too close to your interval sessions, and then, as you say, to avoid more than 2 consecutive run days. Yeah, I've seen people do that. They run, or they do everything in 4 days and then do nothing for 3 days. And there's just an interesting guideline, and it's not true for everyone, but it's a very general guide, is to sort of say your long runs shouldn't be more than 30% of your weekly volume, because I know some people who only run 3 times a week and then really try and load all of that in the one long run as well. And yeah, just trying to play catch up like that is just going to do a little bit more harm than good. So slow progressive builds is better than just trying to hit everything in one session.
Yeah. So it's all good. Have your long run during the week and enjoy your weekends.
Enjoy your weekends. Excellent. Thanks, Tandiwe, for that question.
All right. Okay. Fifth question from Kathy in Manchester. I just feel down. Hang on. I just feel down and running seems too hard. How do I find my mojo? I'm 51 and I've been running for years, but recently I've got despondent as I'm getting so much slower. I just can't find the goals to motivate me anymore. This is a bit of a common story. Okay, so yes, so she's 51, she's getting slower. She's probably done most of her PBs that she's going to do in life, because a lot of runners are PB driven, aren't they? And then she just can't find the goals to motivate her. What should she do, Shona? What should she do?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things that, Nikki, and I'm keen to get your inputs in here as well. But I mean, for me, it would be about setting small, attainable goals, right? So, stay, like you say, maybe it's not PBs, but it's, let's see if we can do 3 sessions this week, as opposed to trying to complete an entire plan, and just those small goals are really, really key. I mean, in South Africa, we have a saying, and I know it sounds funny because it comes from South Africa, but like, how would you eat an elephant? You take small bites, right? It's like lots of little bites. And so
Yes.
try not to focus on the big picture. Focus on what you need to do today. It's about getting out of bed today and getting your mojo right today. Another thing that I really like is accountability of friends. That works for me personally. When I'm struggling, I find if I'm meeting my running friend Candace, then I go, even if I don't want to, So yeah. For you, Nikki, some things that
Yep,
I know
you never
you
forget
must
run.
have struggled with
Well,
this as well.
that's interesting you say about your friends and stuff. So I had moved down London last year and I didn't have any friends to run with, and it was quite difficult for me, and I did feel despondent, actually. I can really relate to this. And my PBs are well behind me now as well. What I did was I picked up a different type of challenge. I ran what's known as the London Loop, which is the London Outer Orbital Path. And I just picked a trail and I just started every week almost just running parts of that trail and going around. So it was a completely different challenge for me, but it was still running. And I still got the cafe and the afterwards and the coffee, and and actually it was just a really nice thing to do. So maybe changing those goals slightly. Small attainable goals are great, but maybe, I mean, the London Loop was 150 miles, so it was quite a big goal, but I did it in that bite size with
The
the
small bites,
but eventually got to that big, and it was something that was great to do for myself. And actually a couple of friends did end up coming, so I can't say that I did it all solo. But so maybe changing, maybe focusing, if you've always run marathons, can you do a little bit of a faster 5K? Or could you maybe do some sort of trail run instead of the road 10Ks that you did? Or just switching up a little, or maybe it's time for a triathlon. Or,
Excellent.
or a bit of cycling in there, but just still showing up and doing something that kind of just finding that sort of slight difference. Goal would be a good one to do.
I like that. Sorry, Nikki, just to butt in there. I think I quite like the idea of, and if you have the means and the resources to, you find a race overseas, right? Like that's always quite nice. I mean, I know you and I both like doing that. So yeah, that's really nice to motivate you then to, because then you want to enjoy it. You don't want to be out there struggling all day. So again, just changing the views on your goals, I think is important. And then
destination races are brilliant.
It's the best. Highly
recommend. Highly recommend.
You and I should get commission from companies because we punt it so much. But no, absolutely. And again, then that's good for mental health, it's travel, it's fulfillment, it's all of the above. So yeah, and then I think from my perspective, I mean, I personally struggle with depression as well, and so I think just to double check that this isn't a part of a bigger mental health issue. Depression
Mm,
can be a very common side effect of menopause. So speak to your physician. Just if you are really worried, if this is a little bit bigger than just not running, it could be a part of perhaps a bigger concern. So be gentle with yourself, chat to your physician, and just check that is not leading to a bigger cause of mental health.
that's a really good shout. I mean, you can just feel flat just at this time and stage of life. There's no question with everything going on.
Mm.
So yeah, nice shout, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Well, hopefully, Kathy, that gets better for you. I hear there's a nice marathon in Manchester, so yeah, let's see. Not to put any
It is a
pressure though,
good
but
one.
yes, and then getting on to a question from Jen. Jen is in Seattle. She says social media keeps telling me to add more protein to my diet. Is this a good idea? Because I'm worried about gaining weight. And if it is a good idea, how much protein should I be adding? Um, yeah, Nikki, do you have a
You
point you want
know,
to mention
this
there?
is such a big thing. If you go on Instagram or anywhere, there's just you'll get reel after reel after reel. But I was talking to someone about this yesterday. It was my brother because he is dieting. My brother's always dieting. And I was talking to him, and he's actually doing one of these glucose monitors. And
Yes.
I sort of said to him, if you start eating lots of protein, you never see people gaining weight eating lots of
Mm,
protein because it's
mhm.
actually a really difficult thing to do. So, but increasing your protein will really help, like lower the kind of other carbs
Calories or
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the
Yeah,
calories, I guess.
the
Yeah.
macronutrients. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so definitely getting good protein in your diet is a go-to
Mm,
for any age and particularly for maturer women and stuff. Um,
definitely.
but
Yeah.
yeah, what do you think? I mean, sure,
Yeah,
you've got
I was going to joke her as well because on Instagram, I mean, there's all these funny memes about women saying, like they've increased their protein intake, but they feel like they've got like a part-time job just trying to, increase their protein intake, and because it really is
it's
difficult
difficult.
to do the amounts of protein that are recommended. So let me just maybe give you the general
Yes.
guidelines. We're talking 1 to 1.3 grams per kilogram of body mass per day. Okay, so let me say that again for you: 1 to 1.3 grams per kilogram of body mass per day. So I
So
mean,
I'm 60 kilograms.
so let's say that your minimum then would be 60 grams of protein per day, which is a lot. I mean, that is a lot. I'm just
So
going to
a
put it in
salmon
answers. I'm sorry, I
I
was
was
going to put it in answers just for our US listeners. That's 0.015 to zero point 0.2 ounces per pound of body mass per day. Okay, so 0.015 to zero point 0.2 ounces. And so that is a lot, Nikki. And really, so then the recommendation is to then try and split that up through the day, right, as much as you can. So don't try and only have your protein source at dinner time. Try and split it up through the day. And so where you perhaps then aiming to get like zero point 0.3 or zero point 0.4 grams per kilogram throughout the day, and you do that 3 to 5 times through the day. And then to, of course, focus this in and around your sessions so that after your training, in particular your strength training, you are also getting around 0.3 grams per kilogram, in your sessions. Yeah, after your sessions. Sorry. Hmm.
So for someone like me who's 60 kilos, then I need 60.
My
So
maths is my
if
maths is
if
not
I
great.
so I need probably over 60. I often aim for about 100, I have to say.
Oh,
But,
good.
so a chicken breast is about 25 grams of protein. So that would be 4 chicken breasts in a day, which is actually a fair amount, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then, an egg is about 6 grams of protein, so you need a couple of eggs. You need 2 or 3 eggs at a sitting. Um, cottage cheese, 14
Yes.
grams. So you need a fair bit. So these are all quite good protein
Mhm.
snacks. I think the way I quite often deal with adding protein into my diet is trying to figure out the kind of snacks that you can eat with protein in them. So
Yes.
I
Excellent.
quite often make a batch of 10 or 12 hard-boiled eggs for the week. And
Excellent.
then I pop them back in the fridge, and then I just have 2 hard-boiled eggs, and that gives you sort of 13, 15 grams of protein, which is a good. So if you can add the protein into your snacks as well as your meals and just base everything around that, so cottage cheese on rice cakes, or what else is there? There's almond butter and bananas, or sliced apple, or handful of nuts. All these things are just going to really add in. So if you can add, I don't know what you do as your protein and stuff. I mean, there's also
Mine is terrible. Mine is really not good, and it is one of the things that I've actually put down as one of my goals for this year, is to make sure that I am getting enough protein sources. So yeah, and one of the things that I have done quite well is having a protein source before bed, which I know people are scared of, because social media will tell you that if you eat after a certain hour, it's just going to turn into fat, which is such a lie. So by having another protein source before bed, you really are going to help your muscle protein synthesis, so the way your muscles are recovering. So yeah, it might also be a good time to get in I mean, there's your excuse of a midnight snack. And yeah, so Nikki, I think your point's so key, though, in terms of the sources that you're mentioning, because they're natural food sources. You know, and of course, we always want to get these things from our whole foods first. If, of course, life happens and we're struggling to get that amount in, you can supplement it. But please make sure that the supplementation that you're using has got a whey protein aspect to it, and of course, from whey protein we get leucine, which is really important for muscle growth and stimulus of protein synthesis. So yeah, so if we are having to substitute, please make sure or supplements, please make sure that we're getting those in as well.
Yeah, definitely. Good question.
All right. Well, yeah, excellent question. Thank you for that, Jen. Thank you, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I got a ton of value from this today. So yeah, we will see you all again next week. Nikki?
Cheers. Bye, folks.